Yes, indeed. G'day, all. First and final part with Shivu, your humble and very invigorated host. I've got Ricky in the studio with me. We're here in Melbourne.
It's Ricky.
Yes,
And Shiv.
we're here in the cultural capital of the country and in Asia Pacific, in my opinion, Melbourne. This is the Adi city. This is the city of busking. This is the city of beautiful couture clothing and wonderful top hats and very snazzy top coats and RM Williams shoes on nearly every set of feet. So we're feeling quite nice here on this autumn day. Ricky, I wanted to get your take. So Tesla, you're a guy who loves your cycling and you love your car. What are your takes on Tesla's new ideas? They're claiming fully autonomous driverless cars by 26 now, so next year. How does that work for someone like you? You're behind the wheel a lot. Is that going to take away some of the joy? There is a certain joy you get from having the freedom of not knowing where you're going. You're in behind the wheel. It's just you, the pedal, you and your foot on the pedal and your hands on the wheel. There's something awesome about not knowing where you're going, and this is going to, I feel, take away that awesome joy that comes from driving.
Yeah, I'm a probably much more of a cyclist than a car person. I enjoy cycling a lot and also enjoy the practicality of it as well. In a lot of places where there's good cycling lanes, if they're built up areas. So I enjoy cycling a lot and enjoy the feeling of waking up in the morning and I'm going to go for a nice big cycle today, maybe do something in a township that's not a crazy distance away, but there's some distance away. It's an adventure that I like a lot. A car, there's a practicality to cars that sometimes you just need them. So as far as my take on the self-drivingness, I mean, it does speak to a more once the car's driving itself, you're getting less reason to actually own the car yourself as well. So you're getting
why not take a taxi?
Yeah, it is because, and that's the big thing. Why do you own a car as an individual? And there's maintenance is one thing, and the way you drive it has a very close, very intimate effect on the maintenance of it and where you maintain it. So the maintenance side of things is one thing that happens with owning a car, but once it's driving itself and it's choosing how to go from A to B itself as well, then the reason to own a car will probably fade quite a bit, and it'll become much more just something that individuals don't do, but more collectives or whatever you would call it.
Nah, definitely. I hear you. And it's not that we are regressive people. We're not sitting here thinking like, oh, let's go back to the car and buggy or something like that. Things change. Times change. Technology improves. It's an agile environment. It's an agile environment, and change is the inevitable. This is the next iteration of vehicle travel, and this is what's to come. I think though that amazing feeling, I think everyone can remember the first time they got it behind the wheel of a car, that extreme excitement that you got, that there's no map, there's no charted course here, I can go wherever I want. That thrill, we might be the last generation that experiences that, so there's something quite cool about that in some way.
I guess it's how the collectives, the collectives that own the vehicles interact with the individuals that own their vehicles and use them in their own way, and how that interaction sort of plays out. As long as the freedom to own the vehicle and use it in your own way, how that interacts with
like the sovereignty of being able to say like, hey, I've got my fuel in the tank, I've got my foot on the pedal, we're going somewhere, it doesn't matter where, and it's not up to you. Because in some ways, sure, it's a great feature, it's a great function that the car is going to be autonomous, but a part of the sovereignty of being a vehicle owner and car driver is I'm charting the course. I'm charting the course of this thing. So I think it'll be something that's dearly missed in the future. And but yeah, change is inevitable. This is the permanent, ongoing advancement of technology. And because the way that Elon, our dear friend Elon, talks about it is that this will be a money earner for owners of the Tesla. This is going to be, hey, I've switched it over on the settings that the car is available for autonomous driving, and it's going to be essentially just a taxi for hire. And I find that fascinating. That's interesting. It's useful, but I also feel that
It's certainly efficient, but that's not, you know, that's not always what we want. The vehicle, how does it do it most efficiently? Sometimes that is what you want, and often that is what you want. But there are times when that's not. You don't want it to be an obvious consideration sometimes.
Definitely. Very good thoughts there, Ricky. I think we're onto something, mate.
Possibly.
On this thread of efficiency, like, we have this eternal battle between efficiency and, I guess, expression of self and an authentic and genuine view. Like when you hear a song on a piano, that's someone expressing themselves through music. And it's not the most efficient way. There might be a more efficient way to hit those keys to deliver that piece of music, but that's the way that the soul kind of like expressed itself in that moment. And it brings me to China. Now, I think China, firstly, give China their credit. This is the one country in history that's, I guess, eradicated poverty for hundreds of millions of people. This is a country that, 50 years ago was dead poor. There were people in rice paddies sitting around, and they had grass thatched homes, and they had real village life across the country with very little urban development. And they've picked themselves up, and they deserve credit for that. And I think this is me tipping my hat to them. But it's come at a huge cost. The people of China, and I'm talking about the regular lay people, the normal people in China, not anyone affiliated with the Communist Party at all or any political machinations. Those people have had their own government say, hey, you need to have just one child. Now imagine going into another country. Imagine going to Australia or going to America, or going to India or Philippines and saying, hey mate, like I know you're doing well and good on you, but you can't reproduce to the extent that you want to. One child only. I don't think that would go down well. I don't think that would fly. I think your reproduction is the one thing that someone has true sovereignty over. I think any police state or any technocratic or dictator style state shouldn't be involved in that. But that's the trade-off. The Chinese people said, hey, we will accept this. We'll accept you giving us this dictum to live by in exchange for development. And that trade-off has paid off. If I've been to Shanghai, I've only been to Shanghai Pudong in mainland China, and I have to say the streets are clean, the streets are dead straight, the transport is good, the trains are flying around, and I have to say the one nightclub establishment we went to was going off, and it had a very good ambience, and the high rises there are futuristic. It looks like you've entered a movie set for the next Blade Runner movie or something. It's really something to behold in person. But there's a cost for efficiency. There's a cost for development, and it comes at the sovereignty of your own life. It comes at the life satisfaction that people should have. There is no feeling in the world that can replicate having your children in the house, and later as you age, there's no feeling in the world as having your grandchildren come to embrace you. In some ways, that's one of the most special feelings that a human being can have. And there's going to be millions, and I'm not saying like 2 or 3 million, but maybe hundreds of millions of Chinese people who aren't going to have that because of this one-child policy. So it's come at a great cost. Yeah, you've got great cities, or at least great-looking cities and facades, but it's come at a great cost. Society's cost is that the people aren't going to have that familial connections. And I think that's one advantage that other countries will have over China. Not only just the demographic crisis, but um, I think that those who have kept their sovereignty over what the state can do to them and can suggest or impose, I think um, they have an advantage in some way. Um,
Yeah, that's it. Well, I mean, if you
mm,
try and control things
mm,
on that level, everyone may agree, but
mm.
it's, you know, you can research it as much as you want and as rigorously as you want, but it's still going to it's likely that there's going to be some significant surprises to how it goes when you control things in that kind of a way. But yeah, I mean, it's what the history of that policy. What was the situation before it existed? Where did it come from? What's that sort of?
I think it was just a calculation that the CCP had made. They'd said, okay, look, our population is X amount. I think at the time it was like maybe 700 million people. And they said, okay, we're going to have to put a curb on this. We're going to have to put a faucet or tap on this and turn the population and demographic table a little bit in our favor in terms of we just need sheer number of people needs to be less. But it was short-sighted because they didn't realize that, like, okay, you have a lot of people now, but if you don't replace them with two, and the replacement rate for any society is 2.2, you need two people. If you're going to have a couple reproduce, so you have two people, and then you need to add the 0.2%, because some people are going to pass away before they have children. Some people are going to be medically ineligible to have children. So you need a healthy rate of 2.2 total fertility rate for reproduction. So by saying mandating one child, I think that they missed a play there. They were a bit short-sighted. Yes, you got the number down. The raw number of people were down in the country, but you also set yourself up for failure in the long run. The margins are too close now. If the fertility rate is just 1.
Yeah, I mean, the other side of it is that it was accepted. People ran with it.
Yeah,
and that I guess is part of it.
And
it just it happened. So
yeah,
humans, we did that. So
somebody floated this idea, and I think it was a bad idea. I mean, I know that some economists, and I'm an economist by training as well, but I feel like the people stomached it. They weren't throwing rocks at the CCP. They were not challenging it. The Tiananmen scare happened, and then people went silent. A whole generation happened since then. So, so that's quite remarkable. And I will say this.
An interesting thing that happened with the human spirit, you might say.
Yeah. No, certainly. And it shows the lack of humanity in the Communist Party in some ways. For you to even think of this idea of imposing a hard limit on the children you can have, I mean, it's just a very cynical worldview. It's very cynical.
And knowing your subjects very, very, maybe a little bit too much.
Yes, indeed. I do recall having my fingerprints taken when I did arrive at Shanghai Pudong International. So, yes. All right, so we've covered that. And now from there, Ricky, what I wanted to mention was, where do you see... I think it's all up, and I'm going to go on a little rant here, but I think we need humane leadership. We need humane characters leading this world. I think we have a little bit of a creep in terms of people who are overseers and watchers and who know too well for society. And I do think that we have a place for that and a time and place for it, but we don't want to end up like China. Like the Chinese people had quite a robust history. If you go back in time, it's right up there with ancient India, and it's right up there with Mesopotamia and the Persians. And
so much beauty there.
And like it's a it's a place that Sun Tzu, his wisdom came from there. And I really contrast that with India. I feel like India is, firstly, China was a Buddhist country for most of its history, and obviously Buddhism originates in India. I feel like in India they have, in some ways, too much of a vibrant democracy. Everyone's got such a say. Everyone wants to have their 2 cents and really speak their mind. And in some ways, they get lost in the sauce. Sometimes they can over debate and overthink. There is some blending that can happen between the Indian way and the Chinese way that will lead to, I guess, a happy medium. I feel like there's a pragmatic approach that comes in China where you say, like, okay, I'm going to collect a room full of experts, the 10 smartest people. We're going to have someone from engineering and someone from financing and someone from policy. And we're going to come up with an idea to build this dam here or to renovate the city here. And I'm going to give you a deadline and you're going to go and get it done. There's something that credit is deserved there. And I feel like in India, in some ways, they hamstring themselves. They get tied up in terms of like, okay, so are you responsible for this? Are you responsible for that? And at the end of the day, everyone can't get onto a unified platform and say, hey, okay, we've got something going. Let's go. Let's get the city refurbished. Let's get the downtown area redone. I think that there needs to be some kind of inflow of the Chinese pragmatic approach into India, because let's not get it wrong, but a dynamic and fluid democracy is a healthy and wonderful thing. But we also have to curb it in some way in order to advance, in order to get things done. If you sit here, me and you, we can really sit and talk around the topic for hours and hours and not get anything done. At some point, we've got to deliberate, draw a line in the sand, and go forth and do something. And I think that's what's really needs to occur in India. And I've seen some development. They've done beautifully with Noida and the NCR region by Delhi. They've developed a lot of great things there. But I feel like the potential in India is curbed by the fact that there is so much politicking and there's so much, I guess, background chatter around the topic rather than, okay, let's go forth. Like, we've had our say, we've had our chance to debate. Now is the time to take an action. There needs to be a bias to action.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, what you're saying there, I'm thinking of information flow and owning your work and being proud of what you're doing. That's sort of a fundamental to those sort of flourishes of humanity, you might say, where we can go, went really well here and maybe here not so much. It's it's kind of owning your work is such a big thing. If you're and what it just being proud of what you're doing,
exactly,
and feeling respected, I guess, as well. Which they're probably might say they're the same thing, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. And look, we are biased towards Asia Pacific. We're not apologetic about it at all. We are citizens of Asia Pacific. We're citizens of wonderful Australia, which is, I believe, the crown jewel of Asia Pacific, the lucky country, as it's known by. And we want to see Asia Pacific do well. We have no apologies about it. We want to see this region be the leader of the world. I fully envision, with my hand over my heart, that this will be in my lifetime. Asia Pacific is going to be the leader of this world. We're going to be the kingmakers. We're going to be the trendsetters. We're going to be the makers. We're going to be the thought leaders. We're going to be the absolute guiding lights of this world and of humanity. And I think it starts, a lot of it starts with India. India has been the thought leader of the world in ancient times. We all know of the stories of the Romans negotiating with the Indian Rajas, and how Buddhism spread into Asia, how the Chinese diplomat mentioned that India influenced China for 2,000 years without raising a single sword or army. That is a land, it's a holy land in many ways. It's the home of Dharma. Dharma has changed my life. Dharma is a guiding light in the billions of people's lives. It's peaceful, it's blissful, and I think anyone who's associated with that part of the world should be proud. And I think that they should engender themselves to look to develop and push ahead now. And I would love to see a combination of India and Australia leading the world. I think that there's a pragmatic and kind of mateship quality that Australians have that I feel like could that India could use and kind of absorb themselves. And then there's also, just the ability for India to get by and to survive the British Raj and to make it out to this point here at this stage after 75 years or so of independence. They've done well. And it's time to kick on. It's time to push ahead. And India and Australia are going to be real big plays in the geopolitics and macroeconomic future of this world. Lovely. That's all to be said on that. So thank you, Ricky. We've had a good one here. And
yes, thank you.
Yeah, I think we've addressed a couple things that the modern Aussie public want to hear about. And I think also those around the world. If you wanted to hear about how Australians are seeing the world, if you wanted to get any insights into how we're operating, how we're thinking, this is where you start. First and final with Shivu Brody.
Yeah. Thank you, Shiv, for having me on, by the way.
No, don't worry. Always good. Take care and thanks kindly, y'all.